As we race to make sense of the barrow or mine or whatever it might be, the bigger picture is beginning to take shape. Sometime about 6,000 years ago, people came to Blackpatch. They sunk mines in search of flint and used that flint to clear the trees. After mining drew to a close, this became a sacred place. About 4,000 years ago, our ring barrow was built and ritual pits placed around it. 1,000 years later, Blackpatch became what it is today, a place of settlement and farming. When I was up here 2.5 days ago, I thought that I was going to be looking for a Neolithic residential site with a few flint mines attached, but it seems to have got more and more complex as the dig's gone on.
They're very difficult sites to sort out, flint mines. People, I think, are coming here to mine flint, but it's not just purely an industrial activity, it's a big communal activity. And when they're here, they're not living here for like generation after generation and for hundreds of years.
So when John Poole said that what we'd got here was a Neolithic settlement, he was wrong, wasn't he?
No, he hadn't. He came and he saw pits which he interpreted as being dwellings. He was absolutely right. At Myrtle Grove, that's what we've got. We've got dwellings of the Bronze Age period. He didn't know it was the Bronze Age period. In fact, at that time, the distinction between the Bronze Age, the Iron Age and the Roman period, it was all conflated anyway. And with all the science and 50 or 60 years worth of advancement of knowledge in archaeology, we're still struggling to answer the questions he asked.
We're certainly struggling to make sense of the ring ditch.
The bottom isn't very deep.
We've hit solid chalk beneath our stash of flint, which means it's not a 6-metre deep mine. But if it's not a mine, what is it?
I mean, that's weird, isn't it?
It is. It's curious to think what this might be. I mean, it's really this whole central space within the ditch. And the only other feature within the interior is this very sort of irregular tree throw hole.
But no burials?
No burials.
I mean, over there, in the flint mines, they're digging holes and they're getting flint out. And here, they're digging holes and they're putting flint back. It's almost as if it was some form of a burial, of a ritual, of offerings. And then you get the ditch goes around the outside and it sort of bounds this sacred area, and then you get those commemorative pits.
Indeed.
I think it's fantastic. Can you think of another one?
No, it is unique.
So this barrow wasn't built to honour the dead, but to honour the two things that dominated prehistoric life here on Blackpatch Hill: flint and trees. It was flint that brought people to Blackpatch, and flint that helped them to clear the trees and shape the world around them.
Because if he hadn't done all that stuff, we wouldn't be here.
No. In just 3 days, we've begun to unravel 3,000 years of history. A process begun by one man, John Poole. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks ever so much for all the work that you've done over the last 3 days. But before we go, there's one small presentation that we have to make to Phil. Can you take your hat off, please? You'd forgotten, hadn't you?
Oh, I totally.
Ta-da!
God.
Neolithic man.
Hello, my name's John Gator. Time Team is fan-funded by Patreon. This vital support helps us to make new episodes. Joining Patreon gives you access to exclusive interviews, 3D models and masterclasses, plus lots more.